Here's a great tweet off George Galloway. It seems the Sun newspaper has recorded evidence that as well as being a male model and an alleged arsonist, this 21-year-old Ukrainian also worked as an escort. With a photo of a scrawny twink doing press-ups in front of an England flag. And the caption says, Ukrainian firebomb suspect loves Britain. I bet he does, yeah. Aye, because if I could find a bunch of idiots who were daft enough to pay all my bills and council tax and rent for me, I'd love them as well, yeah. The point of this video is going to be, the primary point. I want to know why journalists refuse to do journalism when a story appears to have political implications for Keir Starmer, or indeed anyone on the left. Because looking at some of the rumours floating around, one could be forgiven for thinking that what appears to have happened here is that an Eastern European rent boy blew the Prime Minister off and then blew his house up. Right then, you're all sick of hearing about the story. It's been all over the news for days. The rumour mill's gone wild on Twitter, obviously, and apparently has been charged and prosecuted. And that gets to the meat of what I want to talk about, because let's have a quick read of my favourite appalling taxpayer-funded propaganda organisation and see what they've got to say about him, shall we? Man charged over fires at homes linked to PM by Zara Fatima. Again, you don't often see a BBC journalist called Elizabeth Smith these days, do you? Anyway, there's the picture of the burning vehicle. Charges relate to 3 incidents spanning a 4-day period. So he went off on one, this fella. A 21-year-old man has been charged after fires at 2 properties and a car linked to Sir Keir Starmer, the Metropolitan Police has said. Roman Lavrinovich, a Ukrainian the BBC understands works as a builder and a roofer, and also other things. For example, his other profession rhymes with his surname, doesn't it? Roman Lavrinovich, the Prime Minister's gobblebitch. Anyway, he was charged with 3 counts of arson with intent to endanger life on Thursday, and he was arrested at an address in Sydenham, South East London on Tuesday. The charges relate to 3 incidents: a vehicle fire in Kentish Town, a fire at the Prime Minister's private home on the same street, and a fire at an address that he previously lived at in northwest London. So some questions for you. How does a random Ukrainian kid know exactly where the Prime Minister lives, exactly which car on the street belongs to the Prime Minister, and also his previous address? How does he know all this stuff, especially the car one? I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I think the only way I'd be able to know which car on a street belonged to the Prime Minister was if, I'd been on the back seat with him and I'd let him jizz on my face and that. The investigation has been led by the Met's Counter-Terrorism Command due to its links to a high-profile figure. In the early hours, emergency services responded to the fires. One was where Keir Starmer lived before becoming Prime Minister and moved to 10 Downing Street. Damage was caused to the property, but nobody was hurt. The property is currently rented to the Prime Minister's sister-in-law, and a car that he had sold to a neighbour last year was set alight. Then just after 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday the 11th, firefighters dealt with a small fire at the front door of a house converted into flats in Islington, and 1 person was helped to safety by firefighters. With that one, it's understood that the Prime Minister lived there in the 1990s. So, how does he know it all? How does he know it all? Seems like that'd be quite hard to find all that information. I have heard, however, that if you put another man's testicles in your mouth, you can absorb the knowledge. Yeah? It's like when Neo downloads Kung Fu directly to his brain on the Matrix. If you put another man's genitals in your mouth, you absorb all of the prior memories. So that's how you can find out exactly where all of the old addresses and vehicles were registered to. It's a novel theory, but the Prime Minister's married, so that definitely can't be that. And now on to the questions that we've all been asking, elegantly summed up by George Galloway. How did a Ukrainian male model aged 21 with limited skills in English locate 3 properties and a car currently or formerly owned by Keir Starmer and allegedly firebombed? And why? Do we have any journalists left in Britain? It makes you pine for the news of the world. This lad responded, man after my own heart. As the man says, this story stinks to the high heavens, BBC News. Do you think you could get off your fat lazy arses and do your job for a change? Good lad, Andre, you talk a lot of sense, son. Mr. Demos here makes a good point as well. The media omerta regarding the firebombing of the British Prime Minister's house by a Ukrainian national is very interesting, isn't it? Looks like a D notice is in place. And to clarify, if you didn't know, a D notice is used by the British government's advisory system that requests news editors to avoid publishing or broadcasting certain information for reasons of national security. Yeah, it's basically the government threatening people, and they'll tell you, oh, they're only voluntary. The government tells them they have to do something, but you know, we haven't written it into the black and white of the law saying you're going to get absolutely smashed if you disagree with us. So it's definitely only voluntary, but it's the government, so we will crush you like a bug if you don't. That's what a D notice is. But let's be honest, we're living in these bizarre times where the woke authoritarian sociopathic scum rule the world with an iron fist, so they don't even need the D notice. After they've successfully completed the long march through the institutions, and they own all the schools and the universities and the judges and the lawyers and the radio networks and the TV networks and the printed media and the BBC and LBC and Channel 4 and Sky News and The Guardian and The Independent. After they've owned all of that, they don't need a D notice, do they? Because all of the people who are supposed to be the watchmen on the walls now work and are happy to shine the boots of the iron-shod shit-kickers of people like our fascistic Prime Minister, who apparently appears to have been getting back-scuttled by a rent boy in the back of his car. So how else do you find out these things? I certainly wouldn't be able to find the Prime Minister's car, and I have an excellent grasp of English for a man that hails from the northeast of England. So, just put out there, seems like something fishy's going on, seems like the journalists aren't really interested, and it seems like that 21-year-old young lad's baby batter might be staining the upholstery in the back of the Prime Minister's car. But that's just what I think. It's only a wacky theory, so let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, alright? And if you think he's as straight as an arrow, and he's definitely like mega butch and that, and super manly, but let me know in the comments, please, because the scribblings of the mentally ill are always enthralling to me, okay? Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gents. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.